If you want to grow your service business with Meta ads, all you really need is one solid system that fills up your calendar with qualified leads that actually show up at a cost per lead that you have 100% control over. Now, lucky for you, that's exactly what I spent the last 10 years building. I took every SOP, every resource, every process that we actually use inside of our agency and recorded the whole thing step by step, the exact same system that has generated well over $100 million for our clients and our own businesses across more than over 20 industries. And this is part 1 out of 5. And in this one, I'm going to show you exactly the only 3 campaigns worth running to get more quality leads, how to build them for free using Canva accounts, and how to get those ads in front of the right people, and how to scale your winning ads without climbing your cost per lead up to heights that do not make sense. So if this doesn't deserve leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, I really don't know what does. So make sure to do it, and let's get right into it.
All right, so in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly the Facebook backend structure. I'm going to be diving into pretty much like the setup of everything. This is going to be very boring video. We're going to start setting things up in the next one, but it's important for you guys to know the structure. So Facebook.com is very different than the business side of Facebook. So you want to first make sure that you're logged into your Facebook.com and you can access your profile, you can see your friends, things like that. Now, what you want to do is you want to be able to also open your business manager. So this is business.facebook.com/select. So let me go ahead and retype that. Once you search that, it's going to open all the business managers that you're already connected to. Now, you may or may not know if you already have one. If you don't have one, it's very simple. You just go on Google and you type in Facebook Business Manager Creator, and then you just open that tab, and boom, it's gonna allow you to open a tab where you can create a business manager. Again, remember, we're not doing a business suite, we're doing a business manager. So you want to make sure to select this one right here. Let me move my camera so you guys can see what I'm referring to. So something along these lines. So business manager. Once you open this, you'll be able to create your business manager. You can click get started, and then it will take you to create one. Okay. So they're always changing this link. So that's why we used to use business.facebook.com/overview. That link doesn't exist for most of the accounts anymore. So I recommend just Googling whichever one they're using currently. Okay. The next thing we want to do is, now after we have a business manager, we want to make sure that we are able to actually open it up. Okay. So let me pull up, for example, my marketing companies. Actually, let me open this one. Okay. So this is like an outdated business manager that we used to use like back in the day. Pretty much what you want to do is you want to click the hamburger logo, the 3 dashes, and go to settings. Okay, let me see. Okay, perfect. So now business manager settings and other settings are split into 2. So if you see business.facebook.com/latest/settings, so that's not where you want to be. You want to click on business manager down on the bottom corner. Let me move my camera again. Maybe it's even better if I just keep it here. Okay, so you want to click on business manager right here on the bottom. Once you click that, you click on go to business manager settings. It is going to prompt you to either put an off code, or it's going to load it up instantly. Okay, perfect. So it opened it up perfectly. So basically, I'm going to run you guys through the business settings. So people are the individuals that have access to this business manager. Think of the business manager as like the trunk of the tree, and then all these other assets are like branches. So it's very important that the people here under business portfolio access that have full control either own the business, so such as yourself, or are like a very trusted partner, because anyone here can basically kick everyone out of the business manager and keep all the assets, the page, the pixel, all that stuff. So very, very important. Partners is marketing agencies that are connected to your business manager. System users are basically applications that you give access to your business. Pages are obviously your Facebook page. Ad accounts are the ad accounts that you are running from. Again, I'm not gonna hide this just because I don't really care if you guys have this ID, since we don't even use this account. It's like not active at all, and the card there doesn't work. So Instagram accounts is the Instagram account relative to your account. Actually, let me get rid of this since this is also outdated. All right. I can just do that later. All right. Data sources is the next relatively important item, because all you care about here is pixels and data sets. Pixels is eventually gonna get removed, and data sets is gonna be the only one that stays. Facebook's business manager is a little bit clunky sometimes, so that's why I'm refreshing here just to show you what it looks like. So data sets and pixels. Pixel is super important because what that means is it's a tracking mechanism. So you guys ever heard of someone like cooking your device or whatever? It's very, very similar concept to where now if people land on your website or landing page or whatever, you can retarget them with ads. This is super important because this is going to give you data. We're going to definitely stay like close to this. We're going to create one here in the next couple videos. And then the only other ones that are important is billing and payments. That's really it. Now, when it comes down to the business.facebook.com/latest, it looks very similar. It is pretty much the same thing. What I recommend is just doing it from the business manager. I'm not sure if the business manager is going to get depreciated and this is going to be like the new thing, but the buttons are all the same. So you can see people, partners, system users, ad accounts, pages, whatever it may be. Make sure that you set up your account here. Make sure that, first of all, you clean up the people that are not supposed to be here. You clean up the partners that are not supposed to be here. It's very easy to do that. You just click the 3 dots, remove from business portfolio. Pages. If you don't have a page, you want to create one on facebook.com by going on here, going to pages, and then creating a page. And then you click on here and you click on add an existing page. Now, Facebook does have a feature to create a new page directly from inside here, but it's very, very clunky and it doesn't work sometimes. So I would recommend just doing it the basic way. If you're watching this video and you're investing into your business, I'm guessing you guys already have a page. So make sure you click on add an existing page and connect it here. Now, keep in mind that you won't be able to connect an asset to multiple business managers. So if this is a brand new ads manager and it looks just like my screen where it says no pages added, and you're not able to find or add a page that you are connected to, that simply means that page is connected to another business manager. You have to figure out which one it is, and you can either use that business manager as a baseline, or you can disconnect it and reconnect it into your new one. If you don't have an ad account, make sure you click add and create a new ad account. We want to make sure to have at least one ad account in here. Instagram accounts, you can also connect your Instagram account to your page. A lot of times, even if your pages are already synced, where if you make a post on Instagram, it goes to Facebook or vice versa, it's probably going to say login needed regardless, just to activate the additional features that come with the advertising side of things. And then under data sets and pixels, you don't need to create one right now. We're going to create it later in the course for what is relative for it. If you are only running things that are happening on Facebook, which is a good way to market for certain businesses, you don't even need this because Facebook is going to do that for you automatically. And make sure that your payment method is up to date. What I recommend for payment methods is simply use a credit card because they have a higher likelihood of going through than a debit. Because a debit, if there is a recurring transaction that's happening very consistently, like a Facebook transaction, your debit card is likely going to reject it and mark it as fraud, even if it's a massive, massive company like Facebook. This very negatively impacts your ad account. So you never want to have failed payments to Meta. Every time you fail a payment, your ad shuts off and then you have to restart the learning process. It's pretty much a waste of your time. So that's pretty much all my recommendations when it comes to. All right, in this video, we're going to be breaking down the campaigns that convert for lead gen based businesses specifically. So after you've created your ad account, make sure you click on Open in Ads Manager. And this is what it's going to open up as. Okay, so this is an ad account that is ready to be used. If it's a brand new ad account, it's going to prompt you to verify that you have a primary page, which is super easy. You might have to verify your phone number and things of that nature, but it's very straightforward. If you don't have it done, you can just go to account overview and it's going to basically give you the tasks to do here. It takes like literally 2 seconds, okay? So I'm gonna break down the structure of the ad account and then I'm gonna dive into the campaigns that convert because there's only technically 3 of them, okay? So first things first, campaigns, ad sets, and ads. These are very common concepts. Campaigns is the goal, ad sets is the target audience, and ads is what that target audience actually sees. The buttons on Facebook are create to create a new campaign, duplicate, which is a super powerful function that we're going to talk about later down the line when it comes down to actually scaling. Edit, if you want to edit anything specific. A/B test is kind of a useless button because we do A/B testing manually. And then you can create rules as well, which is more advanced. You don't necessarily need it unless you're spending over like $1,000 a day, $2,000 a day, where at that point, I don't recommend you run your ads yourself. Columns is super, super important. This is basically the things that you see here. So like amount spent, cost per click. I always have a default that I use. So I'm going to show you guys what they are. And I would recommend you guys replicate them exactly as such. So you want to start with ad, delivery, ad set name, budget, reach, impressions, amount spent, cost per click, cost per click, click-through rate, cost per mil, results, and cost per result. So CPC is simply cost per click. That's the cost to get a click. CTR is click-through rate. This is the percentage of people that are clicking on your ad from the total. CPM is another very important concept, which is cost per mil. Mil is 1,000 in Latin. So 1,000 impressions means 1,000 times your ad was shown. And just to give you guys a breakdown, reach and impressions are 2 very different things. Impressions is how many times your ad is shown. Reach is how many unique Facebook accounts saw your ads. So if you have a 10 reach, that means 10 unique people saw your ads, and a 15 impressions, that means 5 of those people likely saw your ad twice. That's how you got to that number. So again, just copy these, same thing. You don't have to confuse yourself. This is pretty much the setup that you need. Breakdown is pretty cool. Over time, you can click on this and see if you're getting different cost per lead or cost per book call from different type of age groups. Reports is pretty useful tool, but there's much better third-party tools to use than this. Plus, I'm going to show you guys how to read the report inside the Ads Manager manually. Export to take out your data. You're probably not going to use this. And then the timeline divider. So you have today, yesterday, maximum, last 7 days, last 14 days, 28, 30, and then this month, last month, things like that. So basically, let's dive into the campaigns that convert. Now, what you want to do is you want to click on create. There is only 2 types of campaigns that matter for you guys. So awareness sucks, never use this. Traffic sucks, never use this. Engagement, there's only one version of engagement that makes sense for lead gen based businesses. And leads is another one that makes all the sense for lead gen based businesses. App promotion and sales, don't use these. Sales, I know it sounds like people paying your business, but sales is primarily for e-commerce businesses where people are transacting on a website where they purchase something similar to Amazon or whatever. So let's dive into engagement. I'm going to show you guys which one works for engagement, and then I'm going to show you guys which ones work for leads. So when it comes down to engagement, you want to always go with a manual engagement campaign. You never want to do the tailored messages campaign. For manual engagement, what you want to do is, we're not going to dive into all of these because we're going to go through them in another video, but I just want to show you guys the important one here, which is on the ad set level. You can go on here, and if you put for your performance goal, maximize number of conversations, this is going to allow you to actually get a ton of people sending you DMs on your account, like inbound DMs for both your Facebook and your Instagram. That one is a very good campaign type. Another one is leads. Now, if you did have a smaller budget and you don't want to test much and you don't have enough time to respond to a bunch of DMs, keep in mind DMs that come in are mostly going to be unqualified. With leads, it's also similar, but you're going to get a lot more quality doing lead campaigns. Now, in the lead campaign, there is two types of lead campaigns that you want to focus on. The first one is instant forms. Instant forms means a form that happens on Facebook. So to show you guys an example of what that looks like, we're going to click on create a form. This is what it looks like. It's a form that asks them questions, and then after it's done, you guys get the lead. Now, that one is good for quantity, but it's not very good for quality. The one for quality is you want to select a website, and you always want to make sure you select a single location where people go. Now, I know website and instant forms is an option, as you can see, they're on top because those are the two best ones. I don't recommend using this one at all. Now, you can also create a messenger campaign that is lead-based, similar to the engagement ones, but I find that the messenger on the lead side is much more expensive than the messenger on the engagement side, and the quality is almost identical. Now, basically, what you want to do is you want to do leads for the campaign type. And if you don't want to build a funnel and do all of that, then I would just do instant forms. But if you go through this entire course and you're like, I can build this, I can build a funnel, I already have a funnel, then I would definitely use a website instead. Now, there's a lot of concepts for why websites are better than instant forms. Number one, the biggest one is you get to customize the experience, which means that you get to show them things that Meta does not allow you to do. So as an example, you can show them 8 videos of previous customers saying how great you guys are. You can't do that on a Facebook lead form. On a funnel, you can definitely do that. Now, funnels are, in general, more expensive per lead than a lead form, but it's super worth it because at the end of the day, we're not here to get the cheapest cost per lead. We're here to get the cheapest cost per acquisition and the highest lifetime value for a customer or initial payment or whatever it may be. Because the goal is ROI. It's not cost per lead, okay? And that's a major mindset shift that you guys need to have because, again, the cost per lead itself is irrelevant. I've had campaigns where we have leads for $200 and campaigns where we've had leads for less than $1. And if the $200 lead is converting and let's say 1 out of 3 $200 leads are converting, that's a $600 CPA. And 1 out of 1,000 $1 leads is converting, that's a $1,000 CPA. So technically the $200 lead is cheaper on an acquisition side, which is the only thing that matters. That's pretty much it for the campaigns that you want to focus on. Again, we're going to do a full campaign structure for every single type of those 3 in the next few videos. But overall, just wanted to walk you through exactly the ones that do matter. Because again, like I don't want you guys wasting your time or money on things that are not going to get you a return on investment. So that's pretty much it for this video. Let's walk into let's move into the on Facebook lead form video where we actually build a full campaign talking about Facebook lead forms. In this video, we're going to be setting up ads with the Facebook lead form function. It is one of the simplest, easiest, and fastest way to launch lead generation ads. And it's honestly super, super simple and does generate great results. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on the campaign side. We're going to click on create. We're going to click leads, and then we're going to click on continue. Now, I want you guys to follow me like button by button here, and I'll explain to you guys exactly why we do every single thing that we do. So first things first, we want to do a campaign name. So we're going to say lead form, and then we're going to add one of these things, and then we want to give it a name of whatever we're trying to do. So let's call this prospecting, and I want to add the date. So let's say 06/01/2026. And after that, you want to do ad set budget. You don't want to do campaign budget, and you want to uncheck this box. So you always want to start with this structure right here. Now, the only time you want to do campaign budget is when you are scaling the ads and you already know what's working. And now, if you're in a special ad category, so for example, if you sell insurance, your financial product, if you are trying to hire someone, that's an employment. If you're in real estate, you're advertising a house, that's a housing ad. And then social issues or elections or politics is another special ad category. Now, if you're in neither of these, then you just go and click next. Now, we're going to come back and change the name of this ad set after we do a couple things. So first thing we want to do is we want to select instant forms. The next thing you want to do is you want to select your actual page name. I'm going to just select my personal page. And then after that, for the performance goal, you have two options here, which is maximize number of leads and maximize number of conversion leads. Conversion leads is significantly better than number of leads. However, it's a very, very complicated setup, and I'm probably going to have like a standalone bonus video on how to set this up. Because what a conversion lead means is that your CRM is communicating directly with Meta when someone does purchase your service, and it triggers basically like a higher quality lead for Meta, and that is a conversion lead. Now, the problem with this is that in order for this to be effective, you need to be spending tens of thousands of dollars a month, even closer to more like $1,000 a day in order for this to be worth running for you guys. So if you're not spending $1,000 a day, I would recommend just keep maximize number of leads because the highest point of data you have and enough of that data is the actual lead form submissions because you're going to get those. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about budget and schedule. Let's say we're spending $100 a day. What I want to do here is I want to keep it at 20 because I'm going to create 5 different target audiences at 20. 5 times 20 is $100. And typically, if you're just starting off with something new, you can either do 5 times 20 or 5 times 10. Just keep it super simple. Do 5 ad sets nevertheless, and either do 10, 20, $30 ad spends, and that will tell you how much you're spending per day. Now, for the start time, it's always going to be the same. It's going to be 11:59 p.m. of the same day that you're launching the ads. This is important because if your ads, like let's say right now we say, okay, like let's say it's noon, and your ads get approved by 4 p.m., your ads are going to spend your entire budget between 4 p.m. and midnight for that day, which is really, really bad for optimization because Facebook doesn't have enough data to know who is actually converting throughout the 24 time period. It's going to take your optimization haywire. We don't want to do that. So we always want to do 11:59 p.m. And then everything else is going to stay relatively similar except for the audience. So here you can stay in the current setup. Now, Facebook has changed the wording here to further limit of the reach of your ads. However, it's kind of misleading because this is how you can actually define truly who sees your ads. So we're going to go with this. I know it's not recommended by Meta, but I've seen better results with it. So I'm going to teach you guys what I've seen to perform best. And here for the location, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you all the options. So you have the option of picking a country like United States. You have the option of doing worldwide, which I'm guessing is not the case since you guys are service business owners. You have the option of doing certain states. So let's say Florida as a state. Now we're only targeting the state of Florida. You also have the option of picking a city. So let's call it Tampa, Florida. And typically when you select a city, Meta will put a 25-mile radius by default. You can go as small as 10, and you can go as high as 50. Now, you are also able to drop a pin, and you'll get custom locations. And you can go as low as a 1 mile from that custom location, which is pretty cool. Now, keep in mind, the bigger the audience that you're targeting, the more likely you are going to succeed. So you want to have as much radius as possible. But typically, people in Tampa are not going to try to go provide a service somewhere here. So you are likely going to want to keep this closer to maybe like a 20-mile radius. So this is more reasonable for a business. Now, what you can also do is you can pick a specific location. So like, let's say you're okay going 20 miles from your office. You can literally type in your office address and it will come up. So this is our office address for one of our companies. So 5401. And now we have the exact address. We can go as low as a 1 mile radius, or we can go as high as a 20-mile radius. So again, what you can also do, the last option is a zip code. So 33611, let's say, as a zip code. Boom. So now it's going to target that zip code. And it's pretty cool because Meta is going to basically do a highlighted section right around everything within that zip code, which is awesome. So I'll give you guys a couple tips and tricks here. So first thing you want to do, if you are a local service-based business, make sure you select your city and do a 10-mile radius. This is kind of like a cheat code. And then on top of it, what you want to do is you want to use like basically a Google search to pull all those zip codes that have consistently purchased your product or are within your target market. So like, let's say you sell an expensive thing for someone's backyard, and maybe like a pool, for example, and it's 100K to install, just to make figures easy. Majority of people are not going to be able to afford to pay 100K. So the people that can live in specific zip codes. So go figure out the zip codes and the average income in certain zip codes in the Tampa area. Grab that list and paste it in here. What you can also do here is you can add locations in bulk. You can select this. You can say something along the lines of postal codes, and then boom, you just paste your list of zip codes. This is a huge, huge unlock. If you are selling something expensive, trust me, do this. If you're selling something that is like 3K, 4K or below, maybe even 5K or below, you don't need to go into depth that much. But if you are selling something that is like 20, 30K, I would definitely recommend you go down that path. Now, when it comes down to age group, I always start the age at 25 and I turn off use as a suggestion. Because you have a lot of young people using their devices very consistently. You don't want to waste your ad spend on someone that is not a good fit to purchase your product. If you're providing a service that is more so catered to adults, so like people that are already homeowners, people that are already parents or whatever it may be, you can even do 35 as the age. Now, for gender, you can choose between male and female. I would keep it always for all. For custom audience, this is something we're going to dive into in another video. Detailed targeting is something to understand. So detailed targeting is going to understand your business over time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do, let's say, dog training, right? For pets, people who are interested in dog training. So what this will do is this is going to target people in Tampa that are between the ages of 35 and 65 plus that are interested in dog training. What you can do on the interest side is you can define further. You can do and must also match, let's say, dog food. And now being interested in dog food is kind of a weird thing to be interested in. So you know that the people that classify as dog food for pet supplies are not actually interested in it, but they just looked into it. Maybe they added it to their cart on their Uber Eats or Instacart or whatever it may be. All of this data is tracked back to Meta using third-party applications and things of that nature, which means that if you're buying dog food, it likely means you have a dog. So if you have a dog and we sell a dog training service, then it's a pretty good fit, right? So this is an example of what you can do. And you can keep going divine further as long as you want. But I don't recommend you using it more than 3 times in a row because this is like a Venn diagram. It says and must also match rather than or dog food or something else. So it's always and. Another thing you can do here is you can click browse. You can go into demographics, interests, and like subcategories and see what type of interests are included or what type of interests are available. And keep in mind, this list is not the full list. There's always more of them that you can find by just manually typing them in. And now for placements, this is going to basically be what devices, what platforms, things like that are going to show your ad. I would always keep this Advantage Plus on. So that means keep it, let it do its thing. You can sort it by Android devices, iOS devices, mobile, desktop, only when connected to Wi-Fi, etc. And then you can go even in further detail. So rather than just saying Facebook, Instagram, or network, you can go in and say, for example, I only want it to be on, like, let's say the Facebook feed, and then deselect everything else. Again, I don't recommend doing this because I recommend keeping all of this active through Advantage Plus. I've just seen it perform better. That's really pretty much it. So now that we're done with the target audience, we're gonna grab the name here and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do 35 plus, which is the age, and then we're gonna do Tampa 10 man. That's gonna be the target audience name. After that, you want to go ahead and click next on the bottom right corner. I'll move my camera so you guys can see. So right here, you're gonna have a next button. And then over here is where we're gonna start creating the ad, okay? So let's call this one ad one. And we wanna first turn off multi-advertiser ads. Multi-advertiser ads is, I don't know why, like, if you read the description, it sounds like the best thing ever, right? Like it promotes discoverability, whatever it may be. It sucks, okay? What this means is that you allow your competitors to be shown to the people who signed up to your lead form after they're done with your lead form, in exchange for you being featured on your competitor's lead form at the end as well. I just have never seen that perform well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a single image or video. Carousel simply means it's those ads that you have swiped through images. I see that they don't perform as well as single images or videos for service-based businesses specifically. Now, after you select this, we want to start creating our form. So let's call this form just click to client tester form. Here you have a couple different options. Here's where things get extremely powerful. So majority of people run this at more volume, which is not wrong, but you can do so much more if you're getting certain feedback from the ads. Because keep in mind that at the beginning, you want to get as many leads as possible so you can make data-driven decisions. So I would always start with more volume. But if you start to notice that you have a very large percentage of people who have phone numbers that don't exist or dead numbers, you can literally click on higher intent, which adds a review step. That means they have to swipe to submit the file rather than just like automatically submit it. And then you can also require leads to verify their phone number. That means after they give you their phone number, Facebook's going to send them a 6-digit code that will expire in 10 minutes. And if they don't put in that code, they won't be able to submit the lead form. This guarantees 100% of the phone numbers that come in are working. So just food for thought here. So I always try to get to higher intent with an OTP as soon as possible because it's going to save you a bunch of time. And honestly, you can set it up like this right off the bat. You don't have to wait. But just keep in mind, if your ad spend is low, you're probably going to have to wait a little bit longer because this adds a massive amount of friction, which is going to result in a lot of people leaving the form. But that's okay, because if someone is not willing to give you a 6-digit code or an 8-digit code, they're very unlikely to purchase your product or service. So just food for thought. Rich creative is another one where you can modify the design of your form, where you can give a little bit more information. This is kind of Facebook's attempt to feel and look like a funnel, but it sucks. So yeah, I've ran it a couple times. It generates okay results. Definitely not worth the hype. I would much rather have an OTP than a very large form with a bunch of rich creative. So OTP stands for one-time passcode, by the way. Now, for sharing structure, every single time you want to keep it as restricted. Open simply means the form can be shared. And I know that sounds good in theory. No one is sharing forms. The only people who share forms are your competitors sharing it across their employees to put in spam information. Just keep it restricted, keep it simple, avoid spam in your CRM. It's going to save you a lot of time and save you a lot of headache. The next one is flexible form delivery. I've tested both of these. The results don't really matter for these. I would just keep it as optimized just for the sake of it being as default. Meta likes default items. But again, it's irrelevant, so don't even worry about it. Now, you want to click next. For headline, first things first, actually, the background image, I would always keep that on, and I would use the image from the ad. Now, if you want to have a custom experience, you can upload your own image for something like this. You just click upload image, and it's going to create a pop-up, and then you can upload it. Now, it's not that relevant, so I always use image from the ad. for the headline is what's going to be the first text they see when they open the form. Now, you don't want to write something lame like, thank you for your interest. So like, no, that doesn't matter, okay? What you need to focus on here is keep pushing the offer. Keep pushing the offer that you presented in the ad that got them to that call to action. So let's take the dog training example as our example scenario here. What we're going to do for the headline is claim your free pet analysis. Okay, so claim your free pet analysis today. And then for the description, you just want to say something along the lines of, just give us a little more information so that we can best serve you. Okay, perfect. And then you want to click next. What we want to do now is, because we're creating a dog training form, we want to use some qualifying questions so we're not getting a bunch of people that don't have dogs, okay? We want to make sure that they have a dog. So first question we're going to do is we're going to say, do you have a dog that needs to be trained? Okay, and the answers are yes or no. Now, Meta also does have something where make its questions optional. I don't recommend using it. Just add the friction. Don't be worried about it. And then you can also create conditional logic, which means if they say no, it closes the form. Means these are not leads, which we want to use for now. If they say yes, we're going to go to the next question. Okay? So the next question is going to be, how old is your dog? I don't want to type to case these. How old is your dog? And then the answers are super simple. We're going to do puppy. Less than 1 year old. And then here we're going to do 1 to 3 years old, and we're gonna do 3 to 6 years old, and then we're just gonna do 6 years plus. All right, perfect. Now, the next thing we want to do is, let's say we don't want to deal with dogs that are aggressive. We want to only teach people basic training. So question 3 is your dog dealing with aggression issues? And the answer is yes or no. And we're going to come back here and do all the logic steps. It's just annoying because, like, if I want to move on to the next question, I can't. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do one more question, because let's say you don't train dogs that are not caught up on their vaccines. Is your dog on their vaccines? Okay, and then the answer would be yes. And the answer would be no. And again, keep in mind, questions for the form are completely irrelevant to the space. So I'll give you guys some examples. If you're a roofing company, I would ask something along the lines of, is your roof metal, tile, whatever? The next question could be, do you have roof damage or you have leaks in your roof? Another question could be, is this a new construction, single family, townhome? What kind of property are you in? So, like, the questions have to be very relevant to the industry that you're in, okay? And then after you're done, conditional logic, if you turned it off, then you will be turning it off for all questions. But let's say we do want to use conditional logic, okay? If the dog needs to be trained, which is the instant qualifier, we're going to go to question number 2. How old is your dog? Doesn't matter what they say. we're gonna go to question 3. Okay, yeah, we're gonna. No, it doesn't matter what they say. We're gonna go question 3, no matter what age their dog is. The next question is your dog dealing with aggression issues? If they say yes, we don't want that lead. If they say no, we want that lead to move forward. And then question 4 is your dog caught up on their vaccines? If they say yes, we're gonna submit the form. It's gonna be the end page for the leads. And if they say no, it's gonna close the form and it's going to end the page. So let's read these. If submit a form, it says people give you their info and see a custom end page for leads. If it's a closed form, it's people don't give you their info and see end page for non-leads. You don't want to deal with people that are not qualified to work with you, okay? So whenever you have conditional logic, it also disables the optional button because it makes everything required. And now we just want to get their information, which is the step following, which is right here. All right, perfect. So the description is going to be, who do we send the free dog analysis to? Or here, let's just do free in all caps. Put dog in lowercase. Okay, perfect. So we're going to do name, phone, email. Perfect. And then we're going to do next. The privacy policy, you can pull it directly from your website. So I would recommend you just type it into your browser and grab that link and put it on here. Dash policy. I don't even know if this link exists. We're just going to use it for an example. And then for the review screen, you just want to click next. And then here, we still need to modify these pages, right? End page for leads means these are people that qualify to work with you. So the first thing you want to do is, rather than saying, thanks, you're all set, we're going to say something along the lines of, congratulations, you qualify. Based on your responses, you qualify for a free analysis of your dog training potential. We're gonna say here, one of our expert trainers will reach out, but you can also skip the wait and call us below. All right, and now we're gonna have a couple options here, which is gonna be go to website, which is really bad. The only time you wanna use this is if you're sending them to book a call, like you have an actual calendar. View file, really bad. Chat on WhatsApp, not good for United States, very good for other countries. Call business, I'm gonna just put 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm just gonna put like a random phone number. And then instead of call now, we're gonna do in all caps. I'm gonna say calls here. And then the end page for non-leads, here's where we want to utilize the website. So let's say we're sending them to a random website at the end. And thanks for your interest. Based on your answers, this might not be the best fit for you. Check out our website to see what else we offer. Visit website, whatever. And then what you want to do is you want to create the form. So if this thing wants to load. No, Facebook is bugging. Okay. Oh, it's saying it's not a valid phone number. Makes sense. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just disable my screen. I'm gonna put in my personal number just to speed this up, and then I'm gonna share it again. Okay. All right. Boom. So we have it done right here. Click to client tester. We've completed the form. It looks great. It feels great. And it's going to work. So here's what it's going to look like. Claim your free pet analysis today. Do you have a dog that needs to be trained? Email. I mean, this only shows one, but if they answer it, the next questions will start showing up. And if they click continue, it says, thank you for your interest. Based on your interest, this might not be the best fit for you, whatever it may be. The next thing we want to do is we want to set up the ads, the actual ads. So what you want to do here is you want to create a image ad, let's say, for example, and let's do the following. So I'm going to open up canva.com right now. It's a free application. So let's say we go on here and we are doing a custom size. We're doing a 2000 by 2000. Now, if you have videos, that will be much, much better for this specific industry. I would recommend you guys to try both videos and images. I'm going to just whip something up very quickly right now, not at the best quality, just to complete the ad setup, because the creative itself is a whole different video that we're diving into this specifically. So let's say I just get dog training, and we're going to use this. I would never, ever, ever use this ad, by the way. But just as an example, we have these two ads right here. Let's make a third one just for the sake of the example. And we are using this. Again, like I'm saying, I would never, ever use templates without modifying them. We didn't even put the logo, the wrong numbers here. The only reason I'm downloading this because we have a full video specifically dedicated to this, and I don't want to waste you guys' time, okay? I don't want to do it twice. So the next thing we want to do is we want to click on upload here, and then you want to go to your downloads or wherever those images are or videos are, and then we're going to upload them, okay? So after they're done uploading, we're going to have them right here. So let's say we take the first one, click next. Here is something that is super important. You always want to wait for the crop section to load because you want to select original and original for both. Now, the primary text is the text that shows up above your ad. Headline is under your ad, and description is under the headline. So I'm going to basically copy paste these just to show you where those are, and then we're going to write some legitimate primary text, headlines, and descriptions. Now, the call to action button I like to use is learn more. I use that across the board. For here, you don't want to select anything, skip and continue. And for enhancements, again, this is contradictory to what Meta wants, but you want to turn off all enhancements, okay? I find that the conversion rate is better when we turn all these off. Honestly, I wish they helped, but that's simply not the case. So let's preview the ad so I can show you guys where the primary text is and what you guys are going to be able to show these leads, okay? So primary text, like I said, is above the ad. If we are on Facebook, we're going to have access to both primary text and headline. If we're on Instagram, we're not going to have a headline. It's only going to be primary text. I don't know if you guys can see. Let me zoom in. So this is Instagram, and then this is Facebook. On Facebook, you're going to have primary text on top. On Instagram, it's only on the bottom. So when it comes down to primary text formatting, there's 3 different types. Again, we're not going to dive super deep into it for the time being, just because, again, we have videos specific for that. But let me just do the following. So I'm going to pull up ChatGPT. I'm going to say, give me meta ad primary text for my dog training business in Tampa. My offer is a free dog training potential analysis, and use some emojis, a strong hook, and a valuable body. Make the call to action strong, and then we're going to send that. So ChatGPT is not the best when you prompt it like this, but we're going to just take one Is your dog running your house instead of you? Pulling on leash, ignoring commands, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. I like this one better, actually. Your dog isn't confused. They're stubborn. And the confusion turns into pulling, barking, embarrassing moments. Perfect. All right, awesome. So we're going to use this. And we're going to clean it up a little bit. Spots are limited. So, oh my God. Okay. Spots are limited. So, click learn more now and claim your free analysis. Perfect. Now this is going to show up on both Facebook and Instagram. The reason I don't use descriptions is because simply they're barely visible on Meta and they don't exist on Instagram. So I just keep this blank. And I want to turn off tailor to personas. I want to keep everything manual because once it's manual, you'll know exactly what is working and what is not working. What is this? We don't want these. Yes, cancel. Okay, yeah, we don't want these. Okay. And then that is pretty much it. That's the first ad. Actually, no, we have to do the headline. And the headline is, we're going to just go with limited spots left. We can do for limited spots left, or we can do like a call to action based one where it's something along the lines of claim your free audit. You just want to keep it short. 3 words, max 4. And if it's 4, you have to keep it like super, super short words, not anything crazy. Now, what we're going to do from here is, remember, with this current structure, we're only running 1 ad, but we have 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to click duplicate, and we're going to do 2 duplicates of this ad. The first one is going to be ad 2, which we already have uploaded here. And the second one after that is going to be ad 3. Now, what you do here is you just scroll down, you click the little remove media, add image, and now we want to select the second image or video. Again, you want to wait for this to load. It says original. That's great. We're going to deselect all of these. And we're going to do the same thing for the headline. And then we're going to click next, skip and continue. We're going to turn off all these enhancements. And then depending on when you're watching this course, if these enhancements are good at that point in time, I'll probably let you guys know. All right, perfect, done. And that's pretty much it for ad 2 because we already did the primary text. And then we're going to do the same thing for ad 3. Keep in mind, guys, that when you're doing multiple different ads, you only want to change one variable. Don't go changing the image and then change the primary text as well, because then you're not going to know if changing the image is what resulted in better results or it was changing the primary text that resulted in better results. So it's best to only change one thing at a time. So we're going to get rid of all this, skip, turn off enhancements. And we are at the finish line, guys. All right, perfect, done. And that is pretty much it. Now, there is only one thing that is missing here, because remember, we're spending $100 a day, but this is budgeted for 20. So what we want to do here is we want to do a singular duplicate. I like to do these more one by one just because it gets very messy. And what we want to do is we want to change one variable. Same thing with the ads. So rather than dog training, I'm going to say, I'm going to click on the search and it's going to already recommend things for us. So dog grooming, definitely a potential winner here because nobody's going to be interested in dog grooming unless they have a dog. And if you're a dog groomer, you likely also have a dog. And the nice part is we did the ads first, which means that everything transfers over. So we're going to now click duplicate, and every time we get those 3 same ads in that stack that we want. Let me actually get rid of copy and title. Perfect. Let's go down. Let's click on here. Dog training, that's already an interest of ours. Dog toy, that's a good interest. Okay. So let's do a dog toy interest. And then for the last one, we'll do a hyper target, which is a very niche, very specific audience. So we're going to do, actually we have 2 more. So we'll do it on the last one. So here we just get rid of copy. We're going to scroll down, figure out what other audiences are a good fit to work with us. And let's just do dog health. Super important. And the last one, duplicate. We're going to get rid of copy. And we're going to scroll down here. And we're going to pick something else that is relevant. So let's say we're going to keep dog health because that's important. We're going to do a hyper target here. So we're going to click on define further. And then here, we're going to click on one of the things here. So we have dog park, dog harness. So we're going to do dog harness. So you can always use the recommendations as kind of like a search tool. And then you want to define further one more time. And we're going to do whatever, golden retriever. Perfect. So now this audience is much more defined than the other ones, because if you look at this, like dog health, we have about a 450,000 person audience. For the hyper target, we have about 159, with dog health being one of them. So keep in mind, that means that dog health's entire audience is about 500,000 people. And this one, because we narrowed it by dog harness and by golden retriever, only 159,000 out of the 500,000 that are interested in dog health in this specific area are a good fit. So that's pretty much it. That's how you set up the ads. All you would do now is click publish and boom, you're live. That's exactly how you set up a Facebook lead form. I'm going to go ahead and publish these, but then I'm going to turn off the campaign just so that we can always review this later in the course. But that's pretty much it for this video. The next campaign structure that we're going to be going through is the Messenger campaign, the DM campaign. There was a period of time that this was the best way to generate leads. It's not the best way anymore, but I'm sure if it makes a comeback, having it in your tool belt, having it in like your tool belt is going to be a powerful thing to have. So that's pretty much it. Let's jump into the next one. In this video, we're going to be breaking down Messenger campaigns for Meta ads. I'm not going to follow the entire build out that I showed you guys in the last video because it is identical. The only thing that's going to be different is the campaign, ad set, and ad. And then the duplication that we were doing, I'm not going to follow that through because at the end of the day, it is going to be exactly the same as the last video. And I don't think there's a point in showing you guys the same exact thing again. If the last part was a little confusing, feel free to go back and watch the last video. Now, when it comes to Messenger campaigns, again, we're going to click on create. We're going to go to engagement. We're going to go to continue. And then we're going to go to manual engagement campaign like we did previously. So a lot of this is going to look very, very similar. So we're going to go ahead and grab the same campaign name. But instead of lead form, we're going to say Messenger. And we're going to save to draft. I'm going to then go ahead and edit it. And then we are doing engagement. And if you guys remember, we did ad set budget and we turned off share some of the budget with other ad sets, which is perfect. I'm not going to go over the special categories again. Again, we went through that last video. The only big difference is going to be on this side, on the ad set level and on the ad level. So first things first is people get to engage with your brand on Messenger, WhatsApp, or Instagram. That's the option that you want to select. You want to make sure that you have both of them showing up here. You don't want WhatsApp. You want just Messenger and Instagram. And for the performance goal, you want to maximize the number of conversations. This is the amount of people are going to respond back and forth with you. Maximizing number of clicks is going to get you a bunch of people sending you that first initial message, but then never actually doing anything with it. Now, same concept applies here, 11:59 p.m. And then what we are going to do on the target audience for now, I'm going to keep it the same, but you want to follow the same rules that we did in the last video. And then we would name the ad set based on the naming mechanism that we did in the last video as well. Now, when it comes down to the ad, this is the part that is a little bit unique as well. is we're going to turn off the multi-advertiser ads like we did. The thing that is unique about the engagement campaigns is this part right here. So the suggested template. We don't want to use a suggested template. We want to create our own. So you can create it from JSON, but it's better to start a conversation. Now, what you want to do here is you want to use the following. You're going to say, hi, first name of recipient. If you want to change this, you can always click on insert personalization, and you can have first name of recipient, last name of recipient, full name, and then Facebook page name. Typically, I like to do first name. It feels a little bit more personal. And instead of saying, please let us know how we can help you, you want to basically bring up your offer from your ad again. So for this example, since the last video we talked about dog training, in this video, I'm going to talk about a medical spa. So we're going to say something along the lines of click, let's say offer to get our 50% off your first visit before the offer expires. Okay? And then here for questions, I don't like when there's 3 questions. That's a misconception. You don't want to have a bunch of different options. And the questions shouldn't be like, what are your opening hours? What time do you guys close? Things like that. So what you want to do here is you want to have the question be simply exactly what I showed you guys, which is the question is offer, which is a button. And then the automated response is going to be something along the lines of this. Thank you for your interest in our new patient special. Can I please get your name, phone number, and email to send you the voucher? Even if there's no voucher, that's fine, because at the end of the day, we just need this lead's information, because then after they respond, you're going to pick up your phone and call them, okay? And it's going to look the same exact thing on Instagram. It's going to be something along those lines. And then you can click save, and then boom, it works right off the bat. Now, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like on the lead side as well. So we're going to go and change this back to leads. We're going to go with the ad set budget. We're going to turn this off, and we're going to click next. Now, rather than choosing website, we're going to do Messenger. The issue with this one is you can't do Instagram and Facebook Messenger at the same time, so you only have to pick one. So let's say we're going to go with Instagram. I'm going to select the page. It's going to pull up the Instagram account. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the ad section, and we are going to create a new automated chat. So the automated chat is something along the lines of welcome message and question is the same as what I just showed you guys. But what we're going to do is we're going to have completed messages and then questions. You can have a bunch of them go back to back. So an example of this is, okay, we would like to know how we can help you. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to say, hey, Christian, click offer. We're going to do hi, Christian. Okay, this thing is annoying. Okay, it's not letting me edit it this way. Okay. Okay, we're going to do thank you for your interest. The questions are going to be click offer to claim 50% off your first visit, ... And then the answer text here is going to be offer. And instead of not now, we're going to get rid of that. Now we're going to add an additional question. This is going to be a phone number question, and we don't want to have them skip it. So great. The first step is to share your phone number. And again, we want to make sure that validation checks accuracy of contact information. So yes, you're going to get less leads, but that means they can't just text a random message. Now, the next one you want to do is email. This one I would recommend you allow to skip. That's fine. And after that, you're pretty much dialed in. So like when they click on the number, we're going to preview it in the messenger here in just a sec. And then when the completed message comes in, you can say, thanks for answering our questions. We'll contact you. To give or to schedule your first appointment half off. All right, perfect. And then you want to make sure to add a privacy policy. And that pretty much sums it up. You want to click save, got it, and boom, we're good to go. Obviously, you would need to set up the ads, turn off multi-advertiser ads, but these are all things we did in the last video. The only unique thing about a messenger campaign is the two different mechanisms that I showed you guys here. Now, make sure that you guys recognize that this is only for Instagram. So if we want to do this for Messenger as well, we would have to click on Messenger, and you can still click on the automated chat that we created today. And that's pretty much it. That sums up all different ways that you can create a messaging campaign. It's really good to create engagement, especially if you have credibility on your accounts. If you don't have credibility on your accounts, like a large follower account, or you guys are posting consistently or whatever it may be, you could still benefit from this because it will partly build your following at the same time. Now, it's not going to be like massive growth, but it is going to be beneficial. Like if you have less than 1,000 followers, you'll probably have a more expensive cost per message, but the people that are messaging you are likely going to look at your page, stalk you, see what you have. So if you have a low follower account and you're posting content consistently, this would be a good strategy to knock out two birds in one stone. On one side, you're getting new leads to work with your business, and on the other side, you're getting people to follow your page, which is going to create credibility. Think about it like this: two pages that have the same posts, one has 10,000 followers and one has 100 followers. Which one are you likely going to do business with, right? It's always going to be the 10,000 follower page, not because followers matter, but because that shows that the company has been around for a while, they're reputable, they've done business with others that have the same pain and desire as you. So it solves a lot of problems and does definitely help with the credibility side of things. So that's pretty much it for this video. In the next one, we're going to be talking about funnel-based lead gen campaigns, which is where you get the highest quality. Granted, they are more expensive than these two that I just showed you, but the funnels can be customized to an insane level, which is I'm going to walk you guys through in a bonus module at the end of the course, which is where we talk about bolt funnels, which is a brand new technology that's been around for less than a year, and it's absolutely insane what you're able to do with these funnels. So without further ado, let's hop into the next one. In this video, we're going to be talking about funnel-based lead ads, which are by far my favorite, and I think they are the most valuable out of the three mechanisms. So let's dive in. So when it comes down to it, we still have the original ad account. The difference is now there's going to be a lot of setup that is happening outside of the ads manager as well. So when you select leads as your campaign goal, and let's say we go next, whatever, instead of using instant forms here, we want to select website. Now, we don't have a pixel on this setup already. So I'm going to create a pixel. I'm going to show you guys how to connect it and how to test it as well. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a pixel. Let's just call this click to client test. And we're going to create the pixel. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to give it a website URL. So you put your website on here. So I do have like this like dummy tester funnel, whatever. So I'm just going to copy paste this over here, and we're going to click next. and we are going to write the code now. You want to select metapixel only for the time being. Conversion API is a little bit more advanced and it depends on the CRM. So I'm not going to be showing you guys how to do that in this course specifically. And then we're going to install the code manually. This is going to open another tab. This is going to take you to something called the Events Manager, which is what we're going to need to use in order to see if it's even set up correctly. So first thing you want to do is you want to copy the code, and then you want to go back to your funnel platform. In this situation, we're using like a tester go high level account. And under settings, you want to put head tracking code. So we paste this code in here, and then you want to scroll down and click save. Now, keep in mind that my biggest recommendation for you guys is to use the Metapixel Testing Helper tool. It's right here on the top right corner. Let me actually just show you guys what that looks like. Let me do this. All right, perfect. So here it is. So it's the Metapixel Helper. You guys can't see it because it's a pop-up on my screen, unfortunately. But this is going to show you guys the pixel implementation. So you guys see here on the top right corner, this is blue, which means it's being tracked. And if you guys are able to see it, if I click it, it pops up with everything. However, since I am sharing my screen, you won't be able to see it. But regardless, I would highly recommend you just put this in Google, and then you scroll down and you click on Metapixel Helper for Chrome, and then add this extension. This is going to make your life significantly easier, okay? So now that we've copied the code and pasted it in here, I'm going to open the funnel to just double check, make sure it's active. Okay, so it's good. So now what we want to do is we want to grab this URL, go back to the Events Manager, you click Continue. We want to turn on Advanced Matchmaking, select whichever ones are available, and then you want to click Done. Now, after that's said and done, you want to click on Datasets, and you're going to see here that it's going to show that we don't have traffic yet because it's a brand new pixel, okay? So what you want to do is you want to go to Test Events, and you want to paste your URL and open it in another tab. Now, you can see that this pixel is now fully connected successfully, but we only have a page view. Page view is relatively not important because we care to know if we get leads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change the information here, and I'm going to just click the button and see what happens. So we click the button, and it did a submit application. This is the nice part about using Go High Level, is that it does this for you already, so you won't have to waste a bunch of time. Now, if you don't have submit application, if your website is built on custom code or whatever it may be, then just let your website developers know that you want the pixel to trigger a submit application when someone fills out your lead form. Now that that's said and done, we can clear the activity. We're good to go. We go back to overview. Now we know that this pixel actually works. So I'm going to refresh the page, make sure that it looks good. All right, sounds good. Everything is perfect here. And since the events, you don't need to set up events. Your events are automatically going to start tracking. So now we come back here and we go to Dataset and we say click to client. Now, the conversion event, as you guys saw, is submit application. So I know it's going to say inactive for the time being, but that's okay. It's going to work perfectly fine because as soon as the first one triggers that isn't coming from the test, it's going to become active. Now, the next thing we want to do is, I'm going to skip this part. Obviously, you guys know we do 11:59 p.m. We select our audience, whatever it may be. I want to go to the ad section because it's important for you guys to see what it looks like on this side of things. So after you've set up your ads, which obviously these are incorrect, so we would do turn off multi-advertiser ads, whatever it may be. You want to make sure to put your website URL in here. So I want to paste this, but that's not the end of it. We also need to put URL parameters. So what you want to do is you want to go to tracking, which is all the way here on the bottom. And then your URL parameters are super, super, super important. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. So on the campaign source, we want to say meta ads. And then for the campaign medium, you want to do ad set name. For the campaign name, you want to do campaign name. And for the campaign content, you want to do ad name. Now, keep in mind, if you're using a third-party software, different medium, name, and content you may want to use, but I'm going to just show you guys the best way to do it in a simple fashion for Go High Level. So after we click apply on these, it's going to change the URL to have this ending right here. UTM source equal meta and UTM medium equals this and this equal that, okay? So what we're gonna do is now the URL is gonna load something like this. It's gonna do question mark, UTM source equal meta. So it's gonna work perfectly fine. It's gonna work exactly the same as how it does with a normal load, but now we have these URL parameters in the header on top. So let me just do this and submit the lead form to show you guys what I'm referring to. So when we go back to the CRM and we go to contacts, let's say we have this dummy contact version of myself, and you can see here that the contact was created, and actually no, that's not the one I just created. That's another one. All right, let me refresh. All right, perfect. So you guys can see here that we get the information here. So the source is direct traffic, and we have the UTM source, the UTM medium, and the UTM content, which is going to show you exactly what campaign they came from, what ad set they came from, what ad they came from, which is going to give you a lot of clarity on who these people are, okay? So under paid ads, I already have these fields mapped out. So if you don't have this, we're going to talk about this in the CRM videos. But basically now I can just go on here onto my contacts and go to filters and say source. And then I'm going to say meta ads. And then I'm going to click apply. Oh, sorry, it's not source. So it's UTM source. UTM source is meta ads. I'm going to click apply, and then boom, we have it. So now if we have, let's say 100 leads and you have a total of 500, you can easily filter and see only the ones that came from your ads, which is exactly what we want to do. Now, after that's all said and done, that's the only unique thing about a lead form ad. Now, when it comes down to building a savage funnel, this is going to be part of the bonus videos about Bolt, which I we'll have at the end of this course. You guys can go ahead and check it out. I'm not going to walk you guys through the exact build out of the funnel, but I do want to explain one thing. So when it comes down to funnels, I need you guys to think about it like this. When it comes down to why we even use a funnel is to be able to add artificial friction. What that means is that someone comes into your funnel, you are able to add additional questions, you're able to add additional videos for them to watch, like case studies, testimonials, whatever it may be. This creates a longer cycle before someone fills out your lead form. And that's good and bad. This is you signing a contract with yourself saying, I'm okay paying more per lead, but the leads that are gonna come in are gonna be significantly more informed about my business. They're going to be people that are very serious about working with me because they already did all this work in order to even get to talk to me, etc. So very powerful thing to utilize. And as you're scaling your ad spend, the most I've spent on an account on a Facebook lead form is around $350,000 a month. But the most I've spent on a funnel, you guys wouldn't even be able to comprehend those types of numbers because you can scale it infinitely because you get to manufacture the friction. Typically above 300K a month in ad spend, lead forms, it's like impossible to scale. But when it comes to this, you can scale it as high as you want. You can spend $1 million a month. I've heard of people spending $500,000 a day on funnels. So realistically, this is a little bit more advanced. And if your ticket and your pricing is a higher price point, I would recommend you guys start to work on these, because if your price point is too high, getting a ton of leads is not going to solve your problem. You need to get people that can actually even afford your price in the first place. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys got some value out of this. And again, just wait till the bonus video, because when you plug in Bolt funnels with the setup I just showed you guys, it's a game changer. The lowest ROAS I've seen on that structure is a 4x. And an average I've seen is around like 6.97. So it's going to make you guys a ton of money, especially on your return on investment side of things. So make sure that you don't skip that bonus. I know a lot of people don't like to watch bonuses. but I'm telling you guys, when you couple these two together, it's game changing. So that's pretty much it for this video. Let's hop into the next. In this video, we're gonna be talking about modern meta targeting for advanced audiences, okay? So now we're gonna be talking about how you can pull your ICP from all different variations. So in original videos, in the last couple videos, you guys have seen how you can do interest targeting, behavior targeting, do a Venn diagram and get a custom micro audience within certain interests. But what I'm going to be talking about in this video is how to expand beyond that, how to take things to a whole different level, okay? So let's dive in because this needs to be done inside the ads manager, and we're going to take you guys to a different section, which is called audiences. I'm going to show you all the options available because it's literally infinite, and you can get the best audiences in the world using your own custom audiences. So let's dive in and I can show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So first things first, so we're on the ads manager. You want to click on audiences here on the left side. And this is going to take you to a section called audiences, okay? Now I'm going to open up the ads manager here again, because now what you want to be able to do is you want to create custom audiences. The way you can do that is, first of all, you can see all your audiences that you currently have, your expiring ones, and I guess I need to review their terms and accept. For some reason, it's not loading properly. Okay, let me refresh here and see what the issue might be, because this is usually normal. Okay, perfect. So I think that fixed it. Okay, so when you create an audience, you have two options. You have custom audiences and lookalike audiences. Now, keep in mind, these are two very, very different things. So what a custom audience is an audience that is just those people, the people that you are referring to in the creation of the custom audience. A lookalike audience can only be created from a custom audience. Think about it like this. Let's say you upload your customer list to a custom audience, and these are just your customers, okay? A lookalike from that audience is gonna be all the other Facebook users that look like your customers. So I'm gonna walk you guys through the two sections here, custom audience and lookalike, because from custom audience, you can create audiences off of your website, which in order to do that, you need to have a pixel, which is what we talked about in the last video. And the options you have here is all people who visited the website, people who visited specific pages on the website, visitors by time spent, etc. And you can do retention like 30 days, 90 days, whatever it may be. So think about it like this. If you want to retarget people that jumped on your website but didn't buy, you create two custom audiences, one for all visitors and one for people who purchased or people who became leads. And you would run an ad saying, I want to target everybody who visited my website, excluding the people who became leads. This is going to allow you to retarget people who have been on your website that haven't filled out a lead form. So here is where things get creative, okay? Now, I'm going to go back because I want to show you guys the other options. Customer list. This is a CSV. If you don't have the template, you have to download the file template just to know how to get the data. Now, keep in mind, the only annoying thing on this list is the fact that first name and last name do have to be separated. So let me scroll down. Most people don't have the user ID for Facebook, app user, whatever, but you have email, phone number, and name. So think about it like this. If you have their phone, email, and name, Facebook is going to go search for those users and either serve them the ad or exclude them from your ad based on how you did the setup. And you can also have it import them from MailChimp if you desire to do it that way. But typically what I want to tell you guys here is just make sure first name and last name are separated. Email and phone number are pretty typical. And then everything else doesn't matter as much because realistically, Facebook has a lot more information on these leads than you do. So as long as you give them name, phone, email, you're good to go. Now, what I will say is make sure you have a list of at least 500 rows that you're uploading in here, because you always are going to have a percentage of those people that Facebook can't locate their profile. So like, let's say 10 to 20%, Facebook's not going to be able to locate their profile. They may be signed up with an outdated email to their Facebook or an outdated phone number that they haven't updated or whatever it may be. So I always do 10 to 20% just like as a cutoff. Now, what you can also do is I'm going to skip app activity, offline activity, and catalog. You guys are not going to need those. What you can do here is video. What that means is that people have viewed at least 3 seconds of my video, 10 seconds, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 95% of my video. Now, keep in mind that I only recommend this for longer videos, because if your video is like 3 seconds long, then everybody's going to be in the 95% bracket. So it's not going to make a lot of sense to use that type of audience. And this type of custom audience, you can go back further. So the other audiences we were talking about, you can only go back 6 months, which is 180 days. On this one, you can go back 365 days, which is awesome. And make sure when you're naming the audience that it always makes sense, so that when you're in the ads manager, you don't have to open this tab and go back and forth, etc. So don't call this like new customer list. Like call this customer list date or something like that. But the one I've used most frequently is actually from Facebook's own on-platform data, which is the lead form. On the lead form, what you can do is you can search for, let me just do Christian and the form that we created for this test. Okay, so we can do like, let's say 90 days, okay? And we can say people who opened this form, which is good information. People who opened but didn't submit the form, which is also okay. People who opened and submitted the form, this is a high intent audience. What you can do is you can then take this audience and create a lookalike from it, which means people that look like the people who are filling out my form, which is exactly who we want to target, right? So keep in mind that there is options for include more people or exclude people. I typically don't recommend doing that here because things get messy. What I recommend is you only do a custom audience for one item. So if you want to do people who opened and submitted the form, create this custom audience and then go create another one if you want to have something else as well. And then the last one I want to walk you guys through, which is Instagram account and Facebook page. These are pretty much the same. Is like, let's say I go and I look up, let me do this. It's not letting me search. Okay. Okay, whatever. So people who engaged with this professional account, people who started following this professional account, people who visited this professional account, people who engaged with a post or ad from this account, people who send a message to this account. There is so many things you guys can do here. Now, the ones I will tell you guys to always keep an eye on. You always want to have something built from your customer list prior to running ads. You also always want to have a website custom audience if you are running funnel ads. You also always want to have a lookalike and a custom audience from the lead form that is the one that you're running if you're doing Facebook lead forms. And if you're doing messages, then make sure you create a custom audience for Instagram users and Facebook users that have messaged your professional account. Now, that's pretty much it for the custom audience side of things. Now let's talk about lookalikes. Lookalikes is much simpler to set up. Basically, your source of the lookalike is going to have to be a custom audience. So it's going to show you guys the custom audience that you have here. So let's say lead form fills 90 days. All right, perfect. Lead form fills 90 days. And you want to put the location. So let's call it United States. And then here you can create up to 6 lookalike audiences. Typically, I don't do that. Typically, I just do one and I do 0 to 1%. Now, as you're advancing and becoming more familiar with the ads, I recommend you start doing 2%, 3%, 4%. But at the beginning, especially if you're spending less than $10,000 a month, only do 1%. So that's probably the only one that is actually going to yield you a good return on investment. So that's pretty much it. There's a lot more options on the custom audience. The lookalike is just the other Facebook users that look like the ones you gave it to as the source, okay? Again, I'll give you guys a couple more examples just because I think this is more of a mindset thing to think about is, let's say you make a custom audience of people who follow your Instagram and you want to target people that would follow your Instagram but don't. You would then want to create a lookalike audience of the people that follow you on Instagram and just market to the lookalike rather than the custom audience. And when you have all these things done, what you would do is you would select it on the ad set level. So on the ad set level, when you're creating an audience, you get to see your custom audiences in here. You can see your lookalikes, your custom audiences, and you can filter them this way as well. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys got some value out of this. Again, I know this part is a little bit confusing, so feel free to reach out in the communication channel, and I will most definitely help you guys find the right audience for your specific business. So that's pretty much it. Let's hop into the next one. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to create creatives. And keep in mind, there is so many different tiers and levels to this. I'm going to show you guys the basic version now. And honestly, when I say basic, I don't mean like bad. I mean like very quick. And you can deploy ads like this super, super quickly. And I still use this strategy on high spending ad accounts. But there are significantly more advanced ways to do it as well that we will be covering in bonus modules. Obviously, you guys know that you have the option of hiring a content team to come out with their video equipment, etc., and film ads that way. But is that always the smartest decision? I'm not too sure. So let's jump into my computer so I can show you guys exactly how you can turn free Canva account into a money printing machine on your Facebook Ads Manager. So right here, I have Canva open. So what you want to do is you want to create an account. It's free. Now, obviously, there's a paid plan that's a little bit more expensive. I think it's like $20 a month for like unlimited everything. And really, the free plan allows you to do pretty much everything the paid plan does, except the paid plan gives you additional like graphics and things like that you can use. So when it comes down to creating a design, you always want to go to custom size, and you always want to do 2000 by 2000. This is going to create a square that is still very high quality, okay? And in this video, I'm gonna show you guys examples of so many different niches that you can do creatives with. And here is the big misconception. People think that they need to say too much on the ad for it to work. It's actually quite literally the opposite. So the less you say and the more direct you are, the better the results are, okay? So let me show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So we're gonna create a couple different pages. So this is page one. We're going to do an ad for a roofing company. Page two, we're going to do an ad for a dog training company. The third page, we're going to do maybe something in solar. Page four, we're going to do something in potentially, what could be a good niche? A medical clinic. So let's say medical spa. And then this one, we could do something in the insurance space. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys 5 ads, and I'm not even kidding. The dumber these things look, the better they perform. And I wish I was being not serious, but that's literally what you want to do. So all you want to do here is you want to click on design, and then you want to click on roofing. And what you want to do here is you want to take something that already looks good and you want to make it more minimalistic. That's kind of the mindset you want to have. Now, basically, let's say we take this example scenario for roofing, okay? What we would do is we would backspace, slap our logo in the top left corner. We're going to get rid of these right here. Again, we want to make it more minimalistic. The more text there is on the screen, the less likely the ad will perform. So we're going to get rid of these two. And this is the ad we're going to use. I'm going to literally go on Google and type in roofing company. Roofing company's Tampa. And we'll just use like a random one. So like, let's say this company right here. I'm not a big fan of the logo. Moving on. Okay, this company I like. So what you would do is you would open the image in a new tab. You would save the logo. You probably have your logo already saved on your computer. But then what you would do is you would just drag and drop it here. We're going to put it in the top corner and make it smaller. Now, keep in mind that if your logo is white and you don't have another color for it, this is a super easy fix. You just click on Edit. We're going to find Duotone under Effects. And we're going to click on Custom. And then you just literally select black for both of these. And then you can change the color of the logo to pretty much wherever you want. I can make the logo red if I want to. Okay. So obviously we want it to be black. We want a very classical style. Now, keep in mind that now this logo looks very small. You see how it says roofing services? It's like really, really small. So I'm not a very big fan of this. So I'm going to expand it. And I'm going to expand this. So now this still looks good. I just feel like it's still too close to the edges. So what I would do in a scenario like this is I would then center it this way, and then boom, we're done. Now let's grab the colors from the website. So the color is blue, but it's not the exact blue that I'm using. So I'm gonna go ahead and there's a couple different things you can do here. So you can either grab this website and then go to Google and say AI scraping tool, um, and it's called Firecrawl right here. So you would just put in the website and you will click run. Now you just give this a second. This is free, by the way. You don't have to pay for this. And then once it's done, just click on format, get rid of markdown, and click on branding, and then start scraping again. What this is going to do is it's going to give you the color codes, logo, everything you want to know about this business. So as you can tell, so if I zoom in here, you guys can see they are using the same color for accent, text primary, and link, which tells me that this is the blue that they are actually actively using. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to select this and I'm going to go to the gradient. I'm not going to mess with the gradient much. I'm just going to click on the color and I'm going to click on the color that I want, which is the blue that this company is using. And then I'm going to select a secondary color and I'm going to click that same blue. But the difference is this one we're going to be doing at 77%. And then the last one is going to be the same blue as well. And this one was at, which percent was this one at? Let's see. I think this one was at like 11% or something. Yeah, like 11%. So you guys can see how we have now this nice gradient. I actually am a pretty big fan of this color. So I'm actually going to change the logo back to that color. And you can see here, okay, that looks good. I think roofing services looks a little bit too thin of a text. So what we could do here is we could either make the logo bigger or we can just keep it like this, maybe move this up a little bit to create a little bit more space. I'm not a very big fan of this like BS going on right here, so I'm going to get rid of this. And you need to remember one thing. When you're creating an ad that you want it to convert, no one cares about your business. No one cares about you. No one cares about your opinion. All they care about is how are they going to benefit. So when you're building an ad, you want to make it from the most selfish angle for the prospect possible. So for example, it's going to have to be entirely offer based. So when it comes down to roofing, I would say something like this, for example. Like brand new roof as low as 119 per month. And now this text, it looks good here, but I still feel like it could be better. So I would do effects and I would do a lift. So now we didn't change much, but you guys can see that it's a little bit better visible. So I'm going to click back and back to this one. And you guys can see that little difference that makes it easy to read, because you got to remember, people are not looking at your ad. They're skimming your ad. So you want to give them all the information they want as soon as they land on your image, okay? And now under it, I'm going to just give additional details. Limited time offer, because we still want to add urgency. Like, yes, we want to give them a selfish angle, but we want to add some urgency. Expires in 14 days, okay? And let's make these two a little bit larger. And now I like this. Now this looks good. Now I feel like I could use a little bit more blue here. So you guys can see we can drag it. And this could look better if it was like this. And it's a little bit hard to read. So we're going to do a lift. It's still hard to read. So I'm going to get rid of this little thing they got going on here. And I am going to increase the text size slightly. And then I want to highlight this part to be a little bit more intense. So rather than italic, I'm going to make it regular. And I'm going to enlarge this text by itself. Okay, so it's not letting me do that. So if you want to do that, this is what you would do. First things first, we're going to copy this text. I'm going to move this down here a little bit. I'm going to get rid of 119 per month on the original one. And what I'm going to do on the other one is I'm going to get rid of everything else. So now the only thing we have left here is the 119 per month. And what I would do is now I would drag it here. These are already at the same size. So if I make this bigger, it's going to be much more visible. Now, if I could do a slightly different color variation, it could look good. Black is hard to see, but what we could do here is make it red to contrast very strong against that blue. And what I could do is, instead of a lift effect, we could do something along the lines of not a background, not a fan of this one. Okay, we could do a white over here. Still not a fan of it, even though this could probably convert well. I don't like it. I think it looks cheap and cheesy. So we're going to go back to white. And I think we would just drag this down. And I want to add an underline to this. Underline. And this is where we can turn it into white. Drag it down. Highlight it here. And then we can do here just like limited time offer expires in 14 days. We can put like a star before and a star after, just so that nobody claims this later down the line, even though we probably would still service them. And that's pretty much it. I know it sounds super simple and kind of stupid, but like I said, guys, like the easier and simpler these ads look, the better they convert. So I'm going to group these. Boom. Great. I would run this ad 1000%, and this is going to print leads, like guaranteed. I'm actually running something very similar for a client of mine, and he's getting leads strictly in the zip code that he wants to work in. The next one, we're going to do dog training. So we're going to follow that same process over again. So we're going to do dog training. And let's say ads, since we're getting a lot of logos. And we have one here that says need help. I think I used that one in a previous example or something. I don't want to use that again. We have a dog walker here. Not a very good ad. Let's see. All right, perfect. So this is exactly what we're going to do. This would look good if you had a picture from a dog that you trained, with the background being the city that you're located in. I'm going to go back and change that actually, because I don't have a picture that would match this criteria. But this would look really well. This would look really good actually. So, okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to first call out the audience. So we're going to say something like Tampa residents. And I hate this font, so we're going to change it. Okay, this looks good. We're going to make this bold. And we're going to make this text a little bit larger. We're going to move it down to the center. And I want to add a pin. What you can do here is you can do pin emoji. And then you can just like copy it from here. We can go back here and paste it. Tampa residents, people are used to the emojis, by the way. So it's easy for the eye, like people understand this. What we're going to do here is 50% off. I'm going to make this all caps. Basic training. All right, perfect. So now what I see here is that one thing that I don't like is the spacing is massive here. So we're going to click on the advanced settings, and the line spacing, we want it to be smaller. I would like basic training to be on the same line. Okay, that's perfect. Let me center this and see how it looks like. Okay, so that looks good. We're going to get rid of all this BS going on right here. So we're going to get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. And we're going to put this down here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to move the dog to the front. Or actually, I can just move this to the back. Layers and backwards. We want to make sure that it's still visible, but we can add this like cool effect. Okay, let's see. 50% off basic training. And then here we can say limited time offer. I obviously want to put this on the same line. And you can even get rid of this text and you can just paste it in the box as it is. So we're going to do the text to be white, or no, sorry, we're going to do the box black and the text white. Yeah. And we're going to make this larger, maybe make it a little bit slimmer. And we're going to add an exclamation mark. But I think that this doesn't look good. The color of the background doesn't look good on the button. So what we're going to do is we're going to add maybe like a red spark here. And I want to enlarge the text so it's easier to see. Potentially add more space. And then boom, I'm good to go. That would be pretty much it. Like I said, the less you do, the better the ad does. So I wouldn't even touch this ad. I would just launch this the way it is. It's perfect. And I know to a lot of you guys, you might be watching this and you might be like, but my ads are better than these, which I agree with. A lot of you might have ads better than these because maybe you have video ads or you have a graphic designer or whatever it may be. But Facebook users don't care about what your marketing budget is on the creative side. What they care about is what they are getting. So if the offer is good, so think about it like this. A good offer with a bad image is going to perform better than a bad offer with the best video ever made, okay? Like you can hire Netflix to film your video, but if your offer sucks, they're not going to want it, okay? Because content is meant primarily to showcase what you're offering. But if you're using your content to impress yourself, then no one's really going to care, okay? So just think about it like this. And even if you're running ads that are successful, I would highly recommend you launch examples like the following. And then obviously I'm going to show you guys more advanced strategies later. But for now, let's move on to the next, which is solar. And solar, I like it to be city specific. So I'll show you guys exactly what I mean by this. So let's do something along the lines of, no. Something like this, no. Okay, perfect, something like this. So let's get rid of these. And I like these three text styles. Obviously we don't want these. Oh, no, not that one. That's just a shading. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. I'm going to select everything and drag it down a little bit. Perfect. And now we're going to make the background larger and center it. Here's where we need to take things to the next level. So let me grab a solar company logo. Solar company near me. All right, let's see. Oh, sick. Number one is Florida Electric and Solar, which is actually a client of mine. So let me just grab their logo, which I believe I already have in this Canva account, but that's fine. And then we're just gonna drag it and drop it here. Their logo is a little bit complicated because of the lines in the back. So if I do background remover, it might not work, but we'll try anyways. All right, it worked. Actually, I'm gonna use it with the white background. I think it's fine. If you're ever dragging and dropping on top of a frame, which is what this is called, you guys see how it puts the logo on the back. If I let go, it's just gonna put it in the background, which we obviously don't want. You just need to press Command on your keyboard to be able to freely drag and drop it. And if it's ever forcing you to like lock in a certain area, if it's forcing you to like lock in here, but you're like, I just need it a little bit different, you just press Command and it's completely free. So we're gonna put it in this corner. I'm gonna make the logo smaller. I'm gonna move it a little bit more closer to the center. And now we wanna grab a specific city. So let's say I'm looking at solar in Dallas, Texas. We're gonna grab the skyline and we're gonna put it in the back. People in Dallas are gonna know exactly where this is. And now this looks good. Now what I would do is actually, let me do the following. I'm gonna make the logo a little bit smaller, put it top left corner, and I'm going to move this stack of items a little bit below, If you want to select multiple items at once, make sure that, actually, there's a lot of things to select here. Okay, let me just do this. And perfect. And then I'm going to just put this up on top. Perfect. And here is what we want to do is call out the audience again. So Dallas residents. Get switch to solar. Switch. All right. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. I actually want to swap these. So I want to call out the audience here. And we're going to do something like this. All right, we're going to do Dallas residents. I want to go grab that pin again that I had. All right, the pin is gone. So what we can do here is Dallas residents. I want it to be on top of this, but not too high. And I want it to still be relatively close. So, okay, so that's good. You can always use the keypad on your keyboard to press up, down, left, right to be able to move things in order to get it exactly where you want it to be. So I think that this looks good and professional, but you guys can see I want to put $0 here somewhere, okay? And the issue I'm facing right now is that 4 is too much to the left of the end of the O. So it's going to look kind of weird. Let me show you guys what I mean by that. So we're going to say $0. And I want to make this super big. Okay. And obviously we want to add an effect to lift it so it's easily visible. And we want to change it to maybe white. Maybe make it italic. And let's see what else we need to do. Maybe we could switch it to green or something because solar is green energy. But this looks like a lizard green. I think this looks better. It looks kind of the same, to be honest, but that's fine. All right. So let's say we want to do this. But right now, I don't want this to be large. I want the solar to be large. Okay, and we want this to be smaller. Solar. And again, I'm just showing you guys how you can do it at a high level and how you can like kind of break the belief that it's too difficult, because that's what most people deal with. So we're gonna do this. I actually have a great idea here. What we're gonna do? We're gonna zoom in here, and we're gonna do Dallas residents, same size as switch to 4, and we're gonna move these here, and we're gonna make this right here much bigger. And move it a little bit here. Dallas residents, switch to solar for $0. I like it, but I think it could look better. So I'm going to group these. I'm going to move them up, and I want to move the rest of the items here a little bit more to the top as well. So the way you would do that is I would just grab everything, move them up, and we're going to be able to add a button below it now since we did that. But because we did that, we also move this back down. And then I want to add a button. So let's just steal the one we did from the previous image. And then I'm going to just change the color. If you don't know what color you want to use, you can just click this little icon right here. and then pick any color. I really like this blue that we're using on this photo, and we're gonna use it something like this. And this is perfect. I would honestly run this as an ad. This is really good and would probably get us some legitimate leads. Now, keep in mind, this is not the best way to create ads, but it is a very viable and very fast way to create a lot of ads. So let's see, what else would I do here? I like the design. I'm trying to think outside the box. Okay, so there's only one thing I would do here. So you guys see how the dollar sign, the line doesn't cross through? I'm not a very big fan of that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to elements and we're gonna go line. And the nice part about Canva is that you get to be as creative as you want. So here we can do a stroke weight. Is it a stroke weight? No, that's the wrong one. These are graphics, that's why. Shapes, there we go. So let's move this up here so we can play around with it. The stroke weight is the following. We're gonna try to angle it as close to it as we can. I'm then gonna make it shorter here. Perfect. Doesn't need to be 100% accurate, by the way. So as long as we make it a little bit smaller, I'm gonna move it here. That looks pretty accurate. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just grab the color, again with our little tool, and then boom, it's done. Okay, perfect. I would run this. And now let's move on to the next, the medical spa, which is huge. Okay, so let's do medical spa. Perfect. I love this right off the bat. We can get rid of these. Title, discount up to 50%. We can do... I'm not a big fan of this font either. So let me see the DM sounds. Okay. Get first visit free for new patients. All right, I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna make that the title because that's what makes it special. If you ever want something to be fully capital, you would just click on this and it will uppercase it for you automatically. Again, I'm not a big fan of this font. It looks cheap. This looks a lot more luxurious. So we're gonna first fix the line spacing like we've done for every other project we've worked on here. I'm gonna fix this for new patients, has to be on the same line. Maybe it doesn't have to be on the same line. All right, so let's do this for new patients. I'm gonna put this up here, and then here we're gonna say limited time offer, and we're gonna get rid of the little auxiliary things they got going on. We're gonna group these. I like this button actually. We're gonna move this down. I'm gonna get rid of this text. There is literally no need for all this blabbing around. If the people already know what you're giving them, that's all that matters, truly. So, okay, so let's keep this like here. And I don't like that this button is the same style as this one. So maybe we can flip the colors. So I'm gonna do the button to be maybe black and the font to be the same as the other ones, but I want it to be white. So it's a little bit different. And now I'm going to make this text left heavy, and we're gonna be adding an arrow here. Right arrow. Perfect. I'm going to make it white to match the font and the text, excuse me. And we're gonna make it smaller. I don't think I'm going to go with this arrow, to be honest. It looks too cheap, but let's try it. So we want to center it, of course. That's centered. Or actually, the issue with this arrow is that it's too thick. What we could do maybe is make this more thick. Okay, that looks a lot better. And we're going to extend this a little bit. And boom. Okay, so that works. Let me just actually move the book now a little bit. I'm going to ungroup it and move it a little bit to the right. Perfect. That looks great. And then what we're going to do is, you guys see how this is like in front of this, but behind this button, it creates like that sort of depth. I really like it. I don't really care for this little thing here. Actually, we could keep it. It's not too bad. And let's just grab a logo. Medical Spa Tampa. And I can just go to this website and open image in new tab, save image. It's low quality because it's a little blurry, but whatever, we can still use it for this example. And obviously it's going to be super hard to see this logo. So what did we do in a couple previous slides that made the logo work? Very simple. Edit, duotone, custom, black, and we're good to go. So what I would do now is I would just make it smaller, put it in the corner, and maybe I would change this image, but I kind of like this image. So we're just going to move on to the next. The next one is insurance space. This one, I'm going to do something that you guys are going to be like, this is insane. I can't believe this is an ad that anyone would run, but I'm not even kidding. This works. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to use a template for this one. I'm going to show you guys what it would look like if you were to create your own custom design. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create 4 different boxes. This is going to look so childish. It's going to look like clown activities, but you'll see that it's going to look good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look up insurance companies near me now. Okay. So let's go to most insurance website. Let's see if they're outdated. Insure One. I don't know what this company is, but I like this logo, so we're going to take it. Save as. We can go back here. I'm going to drag and drop it. All right. The reason I wanted this here is because I wanted the colors. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab that same red. We're going to also make this one that same exact red. And the other two, we're going to make them, we can keep them black actually. That's fine. And I'm going to drag this here just for simplicity. And then what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a circle. Okay. So this circle right here is going to be full screen because we're going to create this illusion of the backgrounds. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just send it to the back. I'm going to grab this logo and I'm going to put it right here. And the circle is going to be white. You guys see now how we created our own kind of template from a specific logo. And I know it looks super childish, but this ad converts. I've already tested this so many times. And what we want to do here is we want to add just a heading and we want to do the offer for the insurance. So like, let's say $0 per month insurance premium. Okay. Everybody wants that. So very simple offer. So we're going to make this super large. And now is where I'm seeing an issue is what we're going to do is we are going to get rid of this and we are going to make this super large. We're going to make the text spacing much shorter. And we are going to make the MO, like the per month, much, much smaller. So we're going to put this down here. I'm going to put the per month. All right, so I'm going to also put in the MO per month down here. I'm going to make it significantly smaller than the rest. And then we want to group it. So the $0 is a little too large right now. And I want it to match the bottom. So I'm going to put it down here on the bottom. And then I'm going to drag it all the way across. Sometimes this is kind of annoying because it takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it because then the image will look very crispy at the end. So I would definitely recommend that you guys go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and come on. And grouping on Canva is one of the most powerful things you can do. Now, you don't want to group things that are above or under each other, but you do want to group things that are next to each other that should always go together. So this looks good now. So I'm going to select this, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to group them. And now I want to center it. So obviously it's going to be a little bit more left heavy, but it is technically going to, you can then move it around for it to make sense. And perfect. There we go. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to make this red like the other red that we were using. And then this per month is also going to be that same red. And we're going to put the logo a little bit down here. And we're going to add like a little disclaimer below it. We're going to put a star. Only for US residents over the age of 55. Some restrictions apply. Then we're going to make this black. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. I'm going to then center this. And then that's it. That's it. That's literally the ad. Or you can just put these under each other. And then I want to actually adjust the spacing. Perfect. And that's pretty much it. So you would be basically grabbing their attention with the image, and then the primary text is what's going to explain to them the next steps within the sequence and the funnel. So that's pretty much it for this video. I know it was a lot of information. I just wanted to show you guys as many examples as possible when it comes to this specific structure, because in the next video, we're going to be talking about scaling, and having a lot of ads and different tools and ways to create ads is one of the most powerful things you can do. So that's pretty much it for this video. Let's hop into the next one. In this video, we're going to be talking about budgeting, testing, and scaling your meta ads. And I think the most important thing to think about here is your budget initially, because your budget determines how much you can test and how you're going to scale. Now, I'm going to be sharing my screen here, and I'm going to show you guys, number one, like a mindset calculation of how you can calculate your true budget and when you cut off a loser and when you scale a winner. And then we're going to go through the actual theory behind all of this, because meta is heavily based on marketing theory and whether or not it applies or not. And I think it's super important to understand how these things work, because there's two types of scaling, and I absolutely love one and I rarely use the other, but it does have its benefits. So let me jump into my screen and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So first things first, we're going to do like a meta budget calculator. So the biggest, most important thing to keep in mind here is, let's talk about it like this. So imagine you have a budget. Let's say you have a budget of $2,500, okay? And your product price is $100. And you sell 5 of these. And let's say the same exact concept applies, but your product price is $1,000. So now here, what we're doing is 100 times 5, which is going to be 500. And we're going to divide that by your 2,500. You're going to get a 0.2x return on your money. So for every dollar you put in, you get 20 cents back. When as compared to this example, for every dollar you put in, you get 2 back. And keep in mind, selling a $100 product and selling a $1,000 product is almost the same difficulty. So like, let's say you even did a very bad job at selling and you only sold 3 $1,000 products, we still made more money than if we sold 5 $100 products. The reason I bring this up and obviously this is common sense, but it's important to note down while you're calculating your budget, because your product price significantly matters when it comes down to how much you're spending and how much you're going to test. As a comparison, for an example as well, is another thing to think about is if you're selling a $100 product, spending $500 to test it is actually so much more than you need, because you need $250 to test this, since my theory is after you spend 2.5x product price, if you don't have a sale, you shut it off. That's the cost of what you want to do. Now, if you have a $1,000 product, as an example, testing this is likely going to cost you $2,500. And keep in mind, the goal here is to achieve one or more sales. So if you got one sale, you spent 250 and you generated 100, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a loser. That means that that audience works. You just need to figure out where you can cut costs so you can start making money. Now, as compared to, like, let's say if you have a $10,000 product, if you spend $2,000 to test this, it's gonna make no sense whatsoever in this example, because at the end of the day, what you need to do is actually figure out what it is that you're selling and what price point it is, which most of you guys already do. And then that's how you reverse engineer your calculation. So to give you guys an example, let's say on average, most people are not selling a $10,000 product. So let's put this actually up here. Let's call this like the golden rule. And I'm going to merge the cell and I'm going to make this green. So just to always reference back to it once we need to double check if this makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Let's say we have a budget of $3,000 and we are selling a $1,000 product. If we do 3,000 divided by 1,000, as long as this is above 2.5, that is something we can test. Now keep in mind, this is the test budget on the ad set level. Now you're not gonna go spend $3,000 in a day. What I mean by this is if you have a $1,000 product, you can spend $100 for 30 days and determine whether or not this is something that could work. As compared to if you are spending $1,000 for the $1,000 product, this now is going to be 1,000 divided by 1,000, which is 1. And this is going to be below the 2.5, which means at this point, save your $1,000. Don't even spend it, because more than likely, you're not going to make money. It's literally a higher risk than going to the casino and gambling. So don't even do it. So I just want to make sure you guys understand this, because before you launch the ads, make sure that you have a budget that makes sense for your product, okay? And it makes a lot more sense when you're selling a cheaper product. So like, let's say you charge like whatever, $200 for something, and 200 times 2.5 is 500. So you're using 500 to test a $200 product, which in this situation would make sense because it's right on that 2.5 marker, okay? So this is just a mindset trick to have. Now, keep in mind, that is on the ad set level, which means how many ads can you put in one ad set? I like to be at the same calculation per ad that I'm running. So something that I've seen have a massive success rate, I'll run you guys through that calculation. We're going to use the same example. So let's say we have 5 ads and the product is worth $100, okay? So we want to do 5 times 5 times 100 times 2.5. I want $1,250 to test this, because what I want is I want $250 per product, okay? Not per product, excuse me, per ad. So not only are you multiplying 2.5x by the product price, but you also need to understand the 2.5x by the time, like the number of ads you create. So this might be confusing here since there's budget, product price, etc. So like, let me move it down and show you guys what I mean. We have these are number of ads, price of product, and I'm gonna show you guys. So cost to test one ad what you should expect, which is going to be 100 times 2.5 minimum. So that's going to be 250. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna do cost to test all ads, which is going to be the 250 times 5, which now we go back to that 1250 number. I just wanted to show you guys a more in-depth breakdown. And I'm going to give you guys a calculator under this video, so you don't need to worry about this. You can just like plug in your numbers and it'll tell you. Now, if you're selling a high-ticket product, these numbers are a little bit more flexible. Like if you're running 5 ads for a $5,000 product, and you don't need $62,000 to test a $5,000 product. So here is the margins are much different, because at the end of the day, this is a safe marker to be at when you want to scale a product that is like, let's say, $1,500 or below. Now, if you have a $5,000 product and you want to test 5 ads, I would recommend always starting with a 10K base. So I know this goes against the calculation because technically it already isn't 2.5x, it's already at a 2x. But keep in mind that the more you spend on ads, the less you need to spend to crack the code, because Meta has a lot of expensive algorithms in the backend that they are actually trying to help you make more money. So like, it's not like Meta's against us. Meta is on our side. Meta's a business and they want you to make money, because if you make money, you spend more money on the platform. The one thing Meta cannot do is it can't sell for you, which is why most people don't succeed with the ads. If Meta was selling for you, you guys would be chilling, like you'd be sitting on your yacht in Europe somewhere, okay? So, but that's not the case. We are focused here because when you spend 10,000, think about it like this. Let's say your CPM, which we've talked about previously, is cost per mil, is $50, okay? So what we have here is we have 10,000 divided by 50. That means we have 200 times our ad was shown 1,000 times. So what that means is 1,000 times 200. That means our ad was shown 200,000 times. If we have a product that's $5,000 and we showed it to 200,000 people, and well, technically it's impressions, so our ad was shown 200,000 times, we couldn't sell 2 of them, that's a red flag. So do you see what I'm saying on why you would need a lower multiplier for this to make sense? So again, this is just a big mindset shift that I just need to make sure you guys understand before you dive into this, because it makes all the difference in the world. The next thing I want to talk about is testing. So let's go back to Canva. I want to create a new design and I want to do a whiteboard. I want to explain this concept here. So when you're testing, this is what it looks like. So you have 2 versions of testing. So let me see. Okay. So we have testing version 1. Let me make this bold and increase the text size so you guys can see. All right. So we have testing version 1. And then we have testing version 2. There's 2 ways to scale. So let's say we are spending $1,000 a day and we want to spend $2,000 a day. You do have the option of going on Meta, clicking this little edit, and adding a 0. Okay? You are able to do that. That is called vertical scaling. When you're simply changing the budget from one number to another, that is called vertical scaling. And I am not a big fan of this. I'm going to say no bueno. Okay? I mean, it works, but chances are it's super high risk, so I would not recommend it. Version 2 is what I always do. So let's say we have a budget of $1,000 a day. Rather than spending $1,000 a day, what I would do is I could potentially spend $200 5 times. Okay? So let's go through that. Let me show you guys what I mean by this. So we have 3, 4, and then 5. So now we have 5 ad sets running at $200 a day. Technically, we're still spending $1,000 a day. But this time, if this is getting us a bad result, so let's make this red, it's going to be very hard to know what went wrong. But if we're running the ads like this, and let's say these 3 are good, so let's make them green, and these two are bad, make them red, we don't need to shut off the entire operation. We can just get rid of these two and move on and call these failed tests. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I like horizontal scaling, which is right here, horizontal scaling, because let's say theoretically these guys are all doing well, so they're all green, and we want to go from $1,000 a day to $2,000 a day. I wouldn't go into each of these and change them to 400. What I would do instead is I would basically just duplicate these, and now they're also running from this. So now we have $2,000 a day split into 10 copies of 200, which significantly reduces the risk. So that let's say theoretically now these three don't work, we are safe because we can just get rid of them. And now we got rid of them. Now we're spending, instead of 1,000, we're spending, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're spending $1,400 a day, and we're successful because all of these are green. Okay? So this is the second concept to understand, which is scaling. Now, when it comes down to budgeting, testing, and scaling, these all go hand in hand. The way you do the scaling on the actual ads manager is this way. So let's open up this lead form. I left it in draft because I think it's going to be super important for us to view later. So we're going to use this again. So you guys see how we have here all these ad sets where we set the budget to $20 a day. 5 times 20, that's 100. Okay. So now we want to scale. We go to the ad set level and we notice, let's simulate, have some fake data and say that these 3 are really good. What I would do in this scenario is I would get rid of these 2, which I would click edit, turn off, save to draft. I would grab these 3 and we can click duplicate, and then get out of here. And now we have 6 that are good and we want them to be running. And that's exactly what we do. That we just scaled. We just went from $100 a day to 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So 120 a day from 100, and also reducing the 2 things that weren't working. So not only did we scale, but we also optimized. And that's what that term means. When someone says, I'm optimizing the ads, or you should optimize your ads, or your ads were going to optimize, there's 2 ways this can go. Either Meta's AI is making changes to your ads because you clicked on whatever they wanted you to click on and you don't know what Meta's doing, and sometimes it might be making good decisions and sometimes it may be not. This is manual optimization. This is basically trimming the fat, which is what we did by turning these 2 off, and doubling down on what's working, which is why we duplicated these. And that's exactly what you want to do. Now, when it comes down to testing, eventually, when you first launch, everything's a test. 100% of your budget is testing. But over time, when you find your winners, and let's say your budget, just to make numbers easy, is $1,000 a day. Let's get rid of these just to keep it simple. Let's say this one is not working. Here you have the 2 options. Option 1 is double down on what's working. So we can basically get rid of this and duplicate this. And now you are running still that same $1,000, and all of these are proven winners. But the issue with that is that winners are rarely winners forever. So what I would recommend doing here instead is take that $200 a day and move it into a testing campaign. Move it to a testing campaign, which will have its own $200, but rather than doing $200, we're going to do $50 4 times, because now we know what's working from these, so we can take certain elements from them. So like, let's say the primary text is really good on these, so we can just use the same primary text for these, but you want to test new images. These will be your winning previous images, and these will be your new images. Because what could happen is that, let's say out of these 4 tests, this one did well, and these 3 ended up failing. But in the time that this happened, this one also started to fail. So what we would do in this situation, we would now move this here and turn this off. So now we are able to drag this from here to here, put it in, and change the budget to 200 a day. So this is a mix of both horizontal and vertical scaling, as well as testing a separate campaign. And if you guys see, I kept 800 here and left 200 here because of the 80-20 rule. You want to pay 80% of your budget into what's working and 20% into what you believe will work in the future, because that 80% is not going to last forever. And that 20% is also going to feed that 80% with new material that is always fresh, because all ads have a shelf life and eventually they're going to stop working. So it's important for you guys to recognize these things and actually fix them before they become a problem. So that's pretty much it for the scaling, testing, as well as budgeting on the meta ads. Once you understand these 3 concepts, your life is significantly easier. And like I said, I'm going to show it to you guys one more time. Changing the ads budget from 20 to 40, that's vertical scaling. Instead of changing it from 20 to 40, if you just click duplicate, that's horizontal scaling. And when you are doing tests, let's say you duplicated the audience because you like this audience and you want to just test some new ads, you can just go in here, click edit. Let's say this is your testing audience. You can get rid of 2 of the ads, keep the one that you like as a template, and start building on top of it, right? You can just grab this. Hello? Okay, my meta is bugging right now. And then you can start doing whatever you want. You can start making your changes to this specific ad. So I hope this made sense, guys. This is the hardest part of meta ads. I hope I broke it down in a simple way that makes sense, because at the end of the day, once you dial this in, once you understand this concept, you become a very, very powerful media buyer for either other people's businesses or your own. So I hope you guys enjoyed. The next module is all about Google Ads. I love Google Ads. I've spent so much more on Meta, but I love Google so much more because the quality is way better. But the issue with Google is that there are certain things you need to do that make the setup significantly more complicated in order for you to launch ads on there. The best solution is use both platforms. So that's why I wanted to put them both in this course, because I notice always people have to pick one or the other. Why? It's free to make an account. You can just go on there and start running your ads. So,
all right. So that's a wrap for part 1 of the system that we've used to generate well over $100 million across 20 different industries like home service, life insurance, solar, and a whole lot more. For example, we got one of our clients, SPF Screens, down in Florida. Before we started working together, their whole acquisition strategy was just living off of referrals and hoping that the phone rang. But when we put this exact system in place, by month 2, they pulled over 1,091 leads and $442,000 in revenue generated. And by month 5, they have generated over $1 million, all from the paid ad system that I just walked you through. Now, if you want to go way deeper on this, I put together a school community where I share even more sauce, and I also hop on weekly calls twice a week, every single week, to solve your biggest bottlenecks. Now, if you want to go way deeper on this, I put together a school community where I share even more sauce, and I also hop on 2 calls every single week and help you solve your biggest bottleneck so you can scale your business with ads. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll leave a link down below in the description where you can get access to it. And if you want to see me break down the Google side of this, from the keyword strategy that only puts you in front of buyers to the ad copy to the landing page setup that we use, then click the video on the screen right now and I'll see you there.